Good morning and welcome to the Core Connection. I'm Mira Rubin here with you on Enlightened World Network. And today's topic is essence. It's a good conversation. It'll be fun. But before we get started, let's take a minute or two to get present. Let's take a deep breath in through your nose and hold it. And imagine clean, crisp oxygen flooding your lungs, flowing into your bloodstream, nourishing all your cells, all your organs, bringing vital life energy to your body and being. And as you exhale any tension, stress, negativity, fatigue. And now let's take another deep breath in through your nose and hold it. And this time, imagine brilliant, bright light, lighting you up from the inside out, illuminating, electrifying, and energizing all your cells, all your molecules, your electrons, creating a brilliant beam of light and energy from your heart out into the world. And as you exhale any remaining tension, stress, negativity, fatigue. And now let's press our palms together. Vigorously rub your hands together to feel the friction, the temperature, the pressure, the motion, the tickling and tingling when you stop. Allow all those sensations to bring you present right here, right now, into this remarkable physical form that enables you to experience life. Welcome, welcome, welcome. It's so good to be here with you this morning. And we're talking about essence. And this conversation came out of an awesome discussion I had with someone yesterday about how it's so easy for even visionary organizations to get stuck in the doing of the administrative things. The good morning, Rosalind. Welcome. So good to have you here with us this morning. And Gia, welcome. So good to have you here with us. So we are talking about essence, and we'll kind of feel around to be able to get an understanding of what essence means and how we often lose touch with the essence, which is really the beingness of something. We lose touch with that and get all consumed by the doing. And when that happens, the doing then is denatured. It's not inspired anymore. It's disconnected from the source that motivated it in the first place. And when that happens, we become robotic, we become automatic and very disconnected. And so what we're talking about today is finding ways to be present to the essence, to the bigger picture, to the inspiration that's behind the action, so that we reconnect to our humanity and to our expansiveness. So anyway, the conversation was about this visionary organization. And the thing is that I have the privilege of working with people that are involved in visionary organizations. And what I'm seeing over and over is that these organizations are very much a function of our culture, and as such are replicating a lot of the toxic processes, behaviors, priorities, values of the greater culture that is so deeply dysfunctional. And so I want to wrap back around to getting to discussing this visionary organization. It's very much about transformation. All these organizations are about transformation. And yet, within the organization, the daily tasks, the daily responsibilities are guided by metrics, like performance metrics. for instance, you need to make so many calls a day, you need to make, if it's a training program, you need to enroll so many people, or you need to connect with so many organizations, or whatever it is. When we set up those kinds of metrics, the danger is that those metrics become the thing that is the work, when in fact they're not. It makes me think of the saying, the map is not the territory. The metrics are not the essence. And so what happens is, in these organizations, by doing the administrative thing and getting caught up in the measures of the success of that administrative thing, what gets lost is the essence of the being part that that motivated the organization to begin with. Like, what's lost is the vision. And what happens is we become hyper focused on the metric and forget why we're doing that in the first place, or lose connection with why we're doing that in the first place. And as a result of that, the metrics actually end up suffering, because it's not inspiring to be pushed. When it's like, if you're working for money, the inspiration around why you're working, why the money is important, that gets lost, and it becomes just about the money. And the soul, the heart, the essence of why that was important in the first place gets lost, and it becomes about the outcome, purely about the outcome. When that happens, it's like the soul has been ripped from it. It's like it has no core, it has no essence anymore. And when instead we put our attention on the vision, the bigger intention, then those metrics are a representation or feedback about our alignment with that bigger vision. So for instance, I'm just going to use the example of my personal practice, my coaching practice. So I have an intention of having X number of people in my practice, and I have an intention of having those people be people that are influencing other people, so that the benefit of the awakening and the freedom that occurs then gets trickled out. And the intention is awakening and shifting collective awareness and consciousness. Okay, so that's the intention, is to make a contribution to provide people with a vehicle that they can discover greater freedom and greater expression. Okay, so that's the intention. When I talk to people, I'm present to that intention and present to what is going to best serve that person. If instead I was looking at that person as a number in, recruiting people, and I need this many people, and I need 2 more people, and I'm going to go in with the intention of getting this person to do this, that, or the other thing, it's a very, very, very different energy than going in with the intention to serve and being connected to the bigger mission, the bigger purpose, right? And when there's that connection, then those engagements with people happen authentically and happen in alignment with the larger intention, right? I'm hoping this makes sense. Like we get fixated on the wrong thing. You know, we forget that the thing that we're doing is in service to something greater. And when we forget that, it becomes very hollow and mechanical and automatic and robotic. And what we want to do is to wake ourselves up to the connection to essence, to what it is. What is that core being? What is that core? I'm not thinking of another word to match the word essence. That is like the essential nature, the original intent, the drive, the vitality, the life force that's behind the activity. You know, the activity for the sake of activity is just vacuous, it's empty, it's meaningless. You know, to collect all these people, it's like the process through which those people are recruited is absolutely essential to the experience that those people have. And it's like cutting the heart out of something or someone and expecting them to still function. So Rosalind says, essence is like the natural forces which water flows. Yes, it flows in the path of least resistance. If the intention is to reach the ocean and nourish life along the way, then how can this analogy be used to describe my essence? My intention is to sing my soul's song. Thank you, Rosalind. Thank you, thank you, thank you. And thank you for using the language that you did. That's the same language that I use, that we are each here with a unique song, a unique soul song to sing. And the highest purpose that we can serve is to sing that song with the clearest possible voice. And that is the contribution that we are here to give. That is the essence, that soul song is the essence that life itself has imbued us with. You know, that is the expression of life that we came here to express, whatever it is that is our uniqueness, whatever it is that is our essential being, that we are here to express that in its fullness. And so the conversation here is to transcend robotics, you know, to transcend being vacant. We are often just not even present in our lives. And part of that is because we end up prioritizing things that are meaningless. We are elevating the map to a place of prominence rather than presencing ourselves to the territory. The map is a representation. The metrics that we produce in business are a representation. They're a feedback that is a byproduct. They are not a result in and of themselves. And what we've done is mistakenly believed them to be the end product, but it isn't. It isn't. It is just a reflection of, potentially a reflection of the effectiveness with which we are doing the actual work. And so when we talk about money, when money itself is the objective. So let's say you're working with an organization where you're doing fundraising, right? And the goal is to raise $1 million. Okay. Well, so if I'm focused on raising $1 million, I'm working, I'm going to back up for a second. Carol Sanford is a woman who is a powerful thought leader who is very much responsible for the thought that is behind the regenerative movement, regenerative agriculture, regenerative business. And the work is founded in Gurdjieff and Bennett and a bunch of other thinkers and indigenous wisdom and all kinds of really what's the best word? Rich resources. But anyway, she wrote a book called Indirect Work. And so in that, she talks about a basketball team that their mission was to provide a leadership really for young men. That was part of their mission. And how they were achieving that was by creating team, by being these amazing sports figureheads, setting an example. Okay, so it's indirect that basketball could be serving that level of leadership, right? Or that level of understanding team. But that's what we're talking about. So you're in an organization trying to raise $1 million, calling people up and saying, hey, we're doing a fundraising. Do you have a couple 100,000 you can spare or whatever it is? It's very different to be having the drive of going to that $1 million versus having the drive of the organization for which that $1 million is being raised, right? If I'm sharing the vision, the mission, and the essence of that organization, then people will become enrolled with that and will be eager to support that versus the conversation about money, right? It's really meant to be the conversation about the vision, the mission, the purpose of the organization. That's what's enrolling. And so in supporting a team that would be fundraising, the thing to be doing is to imbue them with a deep, passionate connection to the purpose. And then the results will follow. And in that way, and only in that way, do the results measure effectiveness as a metric, as a byproduct of the connection that was able to be forged for the people that were being approached for their support. So Gia says, so we're talking about our intentions behind everything we do, the higher conscious. Yes. Thank you for that, Gia. We are definitely talking about being connected to essence, being connected to why, to our why. What is motivating our behavior? What is the intention exactly? And Gia says, I'm learning about my why behind everything. Why is clear, then how. When why is clear, then the how gets easier. Exactly. When we are connected to the vision, the mission, the purpose, the how unfolds. We don't have to know how, because being connected to that vision, that mission, that purpose, what we are doing is we're creating a field. And I'm just so much more connected to this. It might sound like woo-woo talk, but I know that this is the truth of it, that when we are connected to that mission, purpose, essence, we are creating a field that is a magnetic field that brings forth the support of the universe, for lack of a better way to describe it, that is filled with synchronicities and magic, quote unquote, that make this thing possible, that bring it or support it in its existence. So we've created this magnetic field that then invites engagement, invites participation, invites the synchronicities. So Rosalind says, when trying to change a behavior, it can feel like work, like trying to get water to flow uphill. The transformation or opening happens when the heart guides which boulders to move. Thank you for that, Rosalind. That's beautiful. So when we're trying to change a behavior, we're essentially working on the, getting another $1,000 donation, right? Rather than presencing ourselves to why people, like what the magnificence is of the vision and the mission and the purpose, right? So when we're trying to change a behavior, we're working on the problem. This is also why problem solving doesn't work, okay? Or it's very limited in its potential, because the problem itself is defining the solution or the approach, which is kind of a failed thing to begin with, because the problem is already an expressed limitation. So when you're trying to change a behavior, you want to look at what's behind that. The behavior is a symptom, so look at what's behind that. And also, what is the intentionality behind changing the behavior? Like we look at, for instance, losing weight. We want to lose weight. And so we're doing all the things to do to lose weight, and then look at the numbers on the scale. But maybe we've lost our connection to why we want to lose weight in the first place. Like, what's that about? Oh, maybe it's because I want to feel more vibrant and alive. And so if that's the case, I want to eat things that are going to support me and make me feel that sense of energy and vitality, right? Versus it's all about the numbers on the scale. It's not. It's not. And when we connect to our why of wanting to feel healthier, maybe it's not then all about the scale. Maybe it's about what I'm eating. Maybe if it's really about wanting to feel healthier and more vibrant, maybe then as I'm connected to that, I'm inspired to exercise more. Maybe then I'm inspired to do things to lift my spirits, so I don't feel like I need to fill a void with food as much anymore. So all of these goals, see, this is the distinction again between goal and intention. For me, the goal is lose weight, right? Or weigh a certain amount. And so then things become focused on the scale, and maybe even on what you're eating or what I'm eating, or rather than being connected to the why. And that becomes sort of a recipe for frustration, because I'm focused on the goal being the numbers, the metrics, the byproduct, rather than the goal, or which is actually an intention. to create a broader experience of wellness, right? And when that's the intention, rather than focusing on the weight itself, the shift in the weight becomes just one indicator that I'm moving more deeply into that healthfulness. So I'm hoping this is starting to make sense, and as to why it's so important to be getting back to the essence, the motivator, the vision, the mission, the purpose, rather than getting hung up. So getting back to the intention rather than getting hung up on the goals, which are fractional portions of the true intention. And that when they can serve as feedback rather than an objective in themselves, the the flags along the way, the benchmarks along the way, being a change in weight, for instance, or a change in income, for instance, when those things act as a benchmark, or as an indicator of greater success in the big picture, that's a very different thing than when we isolate those benchmarks and make them the be all and end all, because that's when we experience disconnection. And disconnection from ourselves, disconnection from our greater purpose, disconnection from our essence. And so the invitation today is to look at these things that you're trying to achieve in the world and go back to, what is it that is the essence? What is it that was the purpose? And reconnect with that. Reconnect with the intention. And as you connect with that, the whole dynamic changes, the whole field expands and changes, and sense of alignment is deepened and enriched, and we experience a greater presence to our being and life itself. So with that, that's it for this morning. I'm Mira Rubin. This is the Core Connection, and I go live here each weekday morning at 9 a.m. Eastern on the Enlightened World Network Facebook page and YouTube channel. And I am actually going on a retreat tomorrow. I will be back on Tuesday. You will be Dido and Sue are have programmed reruns for you to enjoy while I'm gone, and I very much look forward to being back with you next week. Rosalind says the heart as a guide shows up as being less critical for not doing something right. It shines a light on the destination rather than focusing on the why these obstacles are slowing the flow of the water. Yes, exactly. That's beautiful, 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 Rosalind. Regina says, we'll miss you. Thank you. Thank you. So much love to you and so much gratitude for the opportunity to share our musings together. Thank you for your well wishes. And until next time, so much love.